Have you ever wondered about the life after death? And do you find sinister mysteries are interesting? And have you been to a graveyard and seen some mysterious creatures loitering around? What is that standing behind you? These questions make me dive into this 5-part series aggressively. Hello to my lovely adjudicators, teachers and birthday contestants. I am Mivndra Thruselvem from SMK Magaran. I'm 16 years old and a Form 4 science stream student. I'm coming from a small family. They are my first school and their teaching has strengthened my bond with them. Their love makes me feel good always. I love to read storybooks, especially the horror-themed ones. I worship debating as well as we can improve critical thinking skills and even helps to write a grammar error-free essay that could help us to score better in the exams. Today, I will share my review on a book titled The Unquiet Grave that has 280 pages as total by M.R. James, who was born in Kent, northwest London and grew up in Suffolk. As a young man, he was very interested in the ancient world, archaeology, history, Christian art and even architecture. James wrote and published many books and papers on his studies, but he is best remembered today for his tremendous ghost stories. Perhaps his most unusual story was The Haunted Doll's House. He wrote this for a special collection of 200 tiny books which were made for the Library of a Doll's House given to Queen Mary of England in 1924. Unfortunately, The Haunted Doll's House is not available in Malaysia, as we know that death will not always lie quietly in their graves. Sometimes they have unfinished businesses with the living world and want revenge for a wrong done to them. Perhaps in life they did wrong themselves and even in death can find no peace. So they must come back to bring trouble and fear to the living. In these 5 stories, the dead can come at any time, in any place and in the strangest of the way. To an Oxford college where Mr. William is looking with an interest at an old picture, or in a bright sunshine to an inn where young Mr. Thompson is spending his holiday when the lights go out. In Mr. Edward's Dunning's room when he reaches out to find the matches, is Mr. Edward around us? What is that his fingers touch in the dark? The wife and stepson of Squid Bowls have a question to us, but only the squid knows the answer. And how can you ask a question of a man who lies dead in his grave? And when your Professor Parkins blows an old whistle, he has found that is it only the wind that answers or something more, something unseen, unheard, but more horrible than you could ever imagine. I found this book at the school library a month ago and I was tempted by the mesmerizing cover of the book. I borrowed this book for a week and I finished it in one day. The story of the book is fabulous with its straightforward language, the pace was fast and the mysteries were interesting enough that you will be glued to your book. The story begins with a university student, Mr. Thompson, who is on a holiday at an inn in Suffolk. Finding himself alone one afternoon, he was curious. He explores all the other rooms, including one which is locked. Inside there appears only to be a bed, but on closer inspection, he sees a trembling creature under a blanket. Terrified, he locks the room again. Determined to discover what it is he saw that afternoon, he visits the room once more. The innkeeper finds him passed out and, although angry, tells him the secret of the terrifying figure. Many years ago, a previous innkeeper was hanged as a robber and his ghost remains. As long as he is locked in the room, however, he will not harm. Is it spooky? From this book, we can conclude that these kind of stories could bring awareness to people to be aware when you are staying at the spooky inn or anywhere that seems to be haunted. For the juries, when you listen to my review, do you think that spirits are there? And will you open a locked room in an inn? I leave it to your better judgment. I am Mivndra Thruselvem from SMK Magaran, marking off.